What's the one biggest mistake cyclists make? New cyclists, experienced cyclists. What's the one biggest mistake? What do you think it is? Let's go through a few. Today, 2022, the low carb, the sugar. Sugar's bad. You know, a lot of people, oh my God, sugar, can't do sugar. I see it every time. I've been racing bikes since 1997, so 25 years. Racing bikes means UCI license, means raced in Europe, means local crits, national crits, state, blah, blah, blah. Racing on the weekend, street races, you know, commuter World Cups, racing A to B, whoever wins, takes it all. And I see more and more today. The fitness level is so low, man. So low. I'm 20 kilos overweight, extra muscle and mass, and I still flog most cyclists out there. The guys who flog me now are the super whippet dudes taking my advice. They're sugaring up sugar water, whether they want to admit it or not. They're spinning to win, and they're training to power, and they're just ripping it up, all right? But other people, man, the fitness level's so low. So low. I mean, yes, they're on heavier bikes these days, road disc. And if we're climbing at 30, if we're climbing at 40k an hour, then yeah, you know, the extra rotating mass and the drag, it matters. If you're climbing at 10k an hour, the aero doesn't really matter too much on the wheels. But if you're doing a fast Norton Summit or a fast freeway or whatever, you got that extra, you know, disc brake in the front there. Yeah, you're going to be feeling that. But that doesn't explain it. The carbohydrate phobia, man. Like I've trained, we're in March, midway through March, I don't even think I've done 800 kilometers for the year. 800 Ks for the year. We're almost 3 months in. 800 Ks, man. I can do 800 Ks in, how many hours? 27 hours, 28 hours, if I wanted to. I've done it before, Paris, etc. You know, so it's like, how am I so fit, training so little? I'm not really fit compared to what I used to be. And that's okay, because we're doing some experiments here. But compared to the average rider, I'm like, damn. People training more than me, and I'm blowing their doors off because they fear sugar and they think they've got to eat more fat and protein. And they just can't lose the fat. Or guys who are pretty lean because they starve and their cortisol's constantly up. So the parasympathetic nervous system can never be fully deployed. So the recovery goes out the window. So they might do the training because they're A-type personality people, they're lawyers, they're doctors, they're surgeons, they're just like, we get it done no matter what. But their performance is so low. So low. You know? They put this massive workload in there, this massive investment, and this little poor return of investment down here. All the work they're putting in, I'm just like, and I come along, sleeping in, go do my ride, come out and blast these guys. You know, I've got a 15-year-old bike, and they've got the latest $20,000 bikes on them. And I blow them out of the water because their training protocol, primarily the nutrition protocol, is crap. Right? It's absolute junk. They pay a sports nutritionist for absolute bullshit. Most sports nutritionists know nothing other than the textbook crap they get fed at university. Most nutritionists have eating disorders. Right? Most nutritionists aren't even in shape. Most nutritionists have a FTP of maybe 100 or 150. Right? And that's not me being mean. This is how it is, man. That's how it is. And people are like, oh no, Durant, you're wrong. How many sports nutritionists do you know? How many have you dated? How many come to you for advice? How many sports nutritionists ask you for weight loss advice, man? I'll put my hand up and say I get more sports nutritionists, dietitians asking me for weight loss advice. They're like, well, I'm a dietitian and I'm fat. I don't like this. What do I do? Why are your girlfriend so hot and slim? I want a sandwich waist. What's the sandwich waist? You grab it like a sandwich and bite it. You know what I mean? So that's why I get all like hyped up and stimmed up. You know, just by reading comments. I don't wake up with coffee or caffeine. I'll wake up with comments. I'm like, I've got a imaginary cup. I'm just like sipping it and like. That's literally what I'm doing. I'm just like air sipping. Sugar's bad. Eat more fat. You know, that I see it all the time, man. And I just like, I mean, I wasn't a star athlete at school. I was like the kid literally picked last on sports day. Literally. I wasn't some like phenom. My FTP's like piddly. Okay, I got scar tissue on my lungs from just 20 years of freaking asthma, pretty much. I don't have but I'm still flogging people who are gifted athletes, but they just don't eat and recover enough, properly or enough. Yeah, this fear of sugar, man. You could take, who's the fastest rider in the world right now? Pog. You put Pog on a low-carb keto diet, I will absolutely destroy him in a time trial or up a hill. Absolutely destroy him. And probably on the downhill as well, because when you're in ketosis, you can't concentrate. So how could a weekend warrior like me, a loudmouth from the south, Duran rider, flog the Pog or the Rog? You know what I mean? That's how important sugar is. Right? We can take the best drugs in the world, people. They don't do much if you don't have enough muscle glycogen to push the watts. Right? The drugs help your red blood cells go up. Red blood cells go up, power's going up. And that's great. That's one part of the equation. But if you don't have enough sugar to fuel the muscle, to fuel the friction there, the energy, the power, bye-bye. You can have a hemoglobin of 200. Hematocrit of 60. Doesn't matter. Bye-bye. Bye-bye power. Bye-bye watts. You're in ketosis. Bye-bye. Out the back you go. So this is why I just laugh and I eye roll and I'm like, oh my God, the frustration nation situation when people think sugar's bad. Well, sugar, I don't drink sugar, I have gels. It's like, I don't have sugar, I have fruit. And it's like, I don't do blood doping, I do EPO. So what? Same, bro. All right? Sugar's sugar. Whether you get it from a banana, a gel, Coca-Cola, or a donut, it's sugar. All right? But now with the Coca-Cola, you have caffeine in there, which may be okay at a start a race, but not after a race. You see these athletes drinking Coca-Cola after a race. I'm thinking, dude, you've just had a finish bottle. You've just had all this other cortisol spiking things, drugs you've been using, runners or swimmers, and they're going to have more cortisol. Like you want to get your parasympathetic nervous system winding down, chilling out, right? Having more drugs, more stimulants, more. When you're finished, why? That's abuse. They're abusing stimulants, all right? So it is crazy, man. It is crazy. I see that all the time. But now what we see is you see the people drinking Fanta or just sugar water, Sugar water. What's the best drink in the world to drink after exercise, during exercise, before exercise? Water and sugar water. All right, have your water, liter of water, boom, knock it down. So you can need water for water's sake, just to flush. And then have your sugar water, boom, easy uptake. All right, then rinse with water. But you got the Coca-Cola with all the acids in it. And then they're blaming the sugar for dental decay. What about all the acids we're drinking with the Coke? So just let's get rid of the caffeine, let's get rid of the fruit acids and the colorings and the preservatives and the hexanes and the solvents and all the benzopyrene or whatever the heck's in Coca-Cola these days. And let's just have sugar in water. pH neutral, no preservatives, chemical stims, blah, 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 blah. It's organic, no panic. So yeah, it's just crazy. Or you had the donut, which is like almost 50% calories from fat, or chocolate, Oh, I love my chocolate. Yeah, I can tell. Because you look like a block of chocolate, alright? Chocolate's full of fat. It's full of fat. We eat chocolate for the sugar. Right? We don't eat it because it's fatty. Like it's fatty by default, by accident, maybe by design. But we eat chocolate for the sugar. So why not just get rid of the fat part, unless you're underweight. If you're underweight, don't take my advice for weight loss. Take my advice for weight gain. Eat more fat. The fat you eat, the fat you wear. Okay? But, so there's people eating chocolate and donuts and then blaming the sugar for the fat that the donut brings, isn't it? It's like you invite me to your house and I bring a bunch of freaking meerkats and chimpanzees and they're shitting and ripping all over the house, But then you're blaming me for the shitting and ripping. It's like, well, you said bring the meerkats and the chimps, You said bring your animal friends, so I did. If you don't want the fat, don't eat the fat. Just have the sugar. That's all your body needs. We've got like 30 trillion cells, and they all run on sugar. All right? What cell runs on caffeine? 0. Fat. How much fat do we need? 2 grams a day. 2 grams a day of omega-3, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. 2 grams a day. Average person eats like 60, 70, 100 grams of fat a day. You know what I mean? So we I mean, you got smart people out there, like, not smart, academic. Academic and smart are two different things, okay? You can have someone who can just recite, go to university, become a doctor, sports nutrition, just regurgitate, parrot, blah, blah. No original independent thought at all. Because it's the textbook's what you got to learn, all right? Free thinking, no. That's not university, okay? That's for psychos like me. So you just parrot academia crap, which can be very good for sometimes, but very closed-minded as well. And so you're taking advice from someone who's just regurgitating what they learned in textbook versus what they learned on the road, or what they learned in the surgery, etc., or what they learned from coaching thousands of people with eyes wide open. For me, that's more important, right? Would you take, it's just like, man, there's people out there. Like let's say that you're a woman and you want to learn how to give a good gobby for your man, all right? Would you take advice from someone who studied that at university, who read textbooks and never actually done it before? Or would you go and track down the local hooker who's got an amazing reputation, all right? She's probably sucked 10 miles of rod and she gives a good job, all right? She's getting 5, 8-star Google reviews. Would you want her as a teacher? Or would you want the person who studied at university and they've got a tertiary degree? They're educated and they're formal, they're academic. No way. Do you want the surgeon who has the best track record? Maybe didn't even go to university, just forged it, but the surgery is just like bang, 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 bang results. All right? That happens. There's some people out there who didn't even go to university, who just plagiarize or just do whatever. But they became good surgeons because they're passionate about it. But they couldn't really study because they're not bookworms, but they're passionate about fixing things. I would rather have that person who's not qualified at university, hypothetically, but does a great job, has the results, has the patients going, yeah, chick saved my life, guy saved my life, that surgeon saved my life, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? I don't care about someone's qualifications. I'm like, what results can you get? How do you look? How do you perform relative to what you're putting in? You know? How many people have you transformed their freaking life? You know? Someone said the other day, I was talking to a person about injuries, and like, are you a doctor? You know a lot about the body. I said, I train doctors. Doctors come to me asking for weight loss and training advice, all right? Just because someone's a doctor doesn't mean, that they're God. Most doctors are out of shape. A lot of doctors are hooked on Xanax and alcohol, and most doctors I've met have really severe mental health issues and fitness issues, all right? There's a minority who are healthy. Go to any hospital around the world and you'll see doctors out there smoking cigarettes. Or maybe they do it stealth behind the car, because of social stigma. But, like, how many doctors look healthy? Most doctors are doctors because they want the money. Let's be honest. No, my doctor's lovely. Yeah, sure, your doctor would see you for free. Or everyone's going to make a living. It's like, do you know how much they get paid? Just to write a script out or whatever? Just to read through some tests. Yeah, I don't know what this means. Yeah, here you go. So, the weight some people put out there in some positions is crazy. It's amazing. But what's the biggest mistake most cyclists make? I would say Dr. Ferrari would agree. I've talked to Dr. Ferrari about this many, many years ago. And he says, lack of insufficient carbohydrate intake is the number one mistake most cyclists will make. And that intake will be rice, fruit, and or white sugar. Sucrose, which is a split of 50 glucose and 50 fructose. So that's it. It's so freaking simple. But people are like, oh, sugar's $2 a kilo, or $1 a kilo. No, Doom Rider, you're an idiot. You're wrong. It's too cheap. I just spent, XYZ on a freaking disc brake bike, a road disc. That's a big mistake, but it's not as big as mistake as insufficient sugars. If anyone's ever bonked out there, hit the wall, most people don't even know what hitting the wall or bonking is. Or hit the wall. I didn't hit a wall. There's no walls here. Have you ever done that? You ever ran your glycogen so low, your vision goes to shit, you're getting all giddy, and you're getting passed by people at 100 watts. All right? That's happened to me many times over the last 25 years racing and riding. That doesn't really happen to me anymore because I'm more organised with my sugar intake, but yeah, it's amazing. That's why, yeah. And I've had so many discussions with keto riders. We've been out riding, like, I'm in ketosis, And I'm like, really? Really? And I just half wheel them. So they half wheeling me, we're half wheeling each other. And then 10 minutes later or 20 minutes later, or the rare exception, 30 minutes later, boom, they're like they just hit, poof. And I'm like, you had some carbs for breakfast, didn't you? Oh yeah, I did, but I won't eat carbs during the ride. And it's like, that's why you're bonking. Oh no, I'm not bonking, I'm just going to go easy today. No, see you later, bye-bye. If you can catch me, I'll give you $100. I've never had to give anyone $100 so far. That's a really good fun one to do. Is I challenge people racing on the street race. If you can beat me in the next climb, give you $50 or $100, $200, $500. Let's raise the stakes, you know. How confident are you of your keto diet, you know. Pete Jacobs, the Ironman champion of Kona. I challenge him, $50,000. Pete Jacobs, me and you, and Everesting. Who could do it? You won't be able to do it in ketosis. You won't. Even though you're a far genetically superior athlete than I am, but you claim ketosis, bro. 50 grand, bro. Let's race, bro. Let's race. Friendly race, professional race. Let's race. Neutralizer downhills, all out, full gas up every lap. I win, you lose. 50 grand.